I'd love to tell you that when I got laid off that I spent hours searching the internet and I spent days reinventing myself and I spent months trying to make myself a better person, but I'd be lying. Being laid off in December of 2008 allowed me to finally reveal myself. Not to reinvent myself, but to become the person I always knew that I was and was just afraid to be. I've run 2 half marathons. I've done multiple public speaking engagements. I live in New York for a month. I lived in Chicago for a month. I've met more people and experienced more things in the past year and a half than I did in my previous, 10 years of gainful employment. It's not to say I'm rich by any stretch of the imagination, but I have freedom now. The freedom not just to pack up and go whenever I can find a cheap plane ticket or someone to pay for it, but the freedom that I'm not responsible to anyone but myself. Granted, I have clients and I have tasks that I have to get done, but everything's done on my laptop. And as far as they know, me being on Wi-Fi at a cafe in New York is no different than me being on Wi-Fi at a coffee shop in Chicago or Phoenix or Seattle or Washington, D.C. or L.A. or any of the other places I've been able to go to the past year. When I got laid off, my first reaction was, hell yeah. I get severance pay for doing nothing. That was fun for about a week. And then you start to realize that you're bored and you want to do something. And then I had this great thought of, well, since you're not responsible to anyone anymore, why don't you just say what you mean all the time? And that became fun. It was a way for me to express myself in a manner previously I would consider tactless, and you may still consider tactless, but it was an honesty with myself that I wish everyone could experience, if only for a couple of minutes. Because it's a fantastic way of living. There is no hiding from anything. There is no white lies. There is no lying, period. And because of this revelation, I believe, in my life, I've become an instigator. I've hopefully become an inspiration. And I've become a part of a community that is doing fantastic things. Now, am I negative sometimes? Yes. Am I negative too often? Probably. But the intent is never to tear anyone down. The intent is always to make sure people realize what they're doing and make them focus on it and ask them if that's really what they want to do. So yes, I'm a freelance contractor. I do marketing plans for companies and help them create content. But that's only what I do so I can buy things like an apartment and this Kodak ZI-8 and a new MacBook Pro, maybe an iPad and an iPhone. But everything else that I do, planning Senfo Camp, planning Scottsdale Camp, being a part of Pod Camp, trying to be part of Laid Off Camp, sorry about that, is my attempt at making everyone feel like this. If only for a couple minutes, if everyone could understand what it's like to be completely honest with yourself and completely in the moment of whatever you're experiencing, not worrying about the future, not worrying about the past, but just living for at least a few minutes or a day in just a state of perpetual here-ness and presentness. It's fantastic. And so that's what I am now. I don't know if I'm an id, your id, my id. I don't know if I'm a conscience, sorry. But I'm part of something that's fantastic. And I'm part of a group of people that genuinely wants the best for themselves and everything else. And I'm part of an opportunity to change the way people feel about each other, change the way they talk to each other, change the way they react to each other, and change the way they do things. I was reading Gaping Void the other day of wakers, people that inspired others to do better things and do greater things. And that's what I want to do. I want to help. And I'll do whatever it takes to do that. Thank you.